Hey guys, welcome back. I hope everybody's doing well. Of course, like I say in every episode, today is such a beautiful day. And honestly, I don't know what this audio is going to be about. But I do know that I just want to encourage someone. I think at a certain point, we all need to be able and willing to let go of our perception of time, or to let go of how we think things should be or how we think things should have been. And a lot of the times, a lot of people say you don't compare your journey to other people. Don't compare your day 1 to somebody's day 100, right? But if you're anything like me, I don't compare myself to other people. I just have an expectation of myself, an expectation of where I want to be at a particular time. And it's really discouraging when I'm not there. And so I was just looking at everything that was happening in the world and how our society is functioning and how people are barely surviving, and I just notice a whole lot of discontentment, and I notice a whole lot of just survival going on. Like, everybody is just barely getting by, and this is not just a Christian experience or a teenage experience or an adult experience. This is everybody, and it's just so hard because there's so much corruption happening in our world. There's so much dis-ease happening in our world, and sometimes I think to myself, I don't know if things will ever get better. God calls us to be sanctified, which means to be set apart, yet it feels like as Christians we're suffering the same way the rest of the world is. And I just noticed something about myself is I actually used to be a very giving person. I used to be somebody who gave without ceasing. I used to be somebody who just was able to extend my hand to people without any problems or without thinking twice about it. But in the society that we're growing up in and in the economy that we're growing up in, it has just become harder and harder and harder to give your time, to give your energy, to give your money, to give your love. I just feel like the society we're living in is conditioning us to be very selfish and stingy with the things we have. And the society we're living in is telling us, if you give this to somebody, you're not going to have enough for yourself. And when we live in that society, it almost makes sense. It makes sense to think, oh, well, I need to fill up my cup before I can give anyone else. But then it gets to a point where we're getting really selfish. Then it gets to a point where we no longer know how to give. And I feel like that's something that's been happening to a lot of people, and particularly me. You don't understand, I give, I give, and it sucks that it's hard to give. It sucks that we barely have enough to take care of ourselves, yet help other people. And so I just wanted to encourage you that God rewards those who give cheerfully. God rewards those who give out of the kindness of their heart and not out of a compulsion or obligation. And I know that it can get really, really hard, and it can get really, really difficult to give, especially in the world that we're living in. But giving doesn't just mean finances. The amount of times I've been telling people no is crazy. And obviously we should, learn our limits. Obviously we should understand the fine line between giving to people and then being a people pleaser and then overstepping your boundaries. So obviously there are some limits to that, but I have just found myself more than ever before telling people no, telling people I can't even when I could, telling people sorry I can't do this even when I could do it, just simply because I feel tired of giving. I feel like if I give you this time, I'm not going to have enough time for myself. If I give you this money, I'm not going to have enough for myself. If I give you this resource, I'm not going to have enough for myself. And it becomes a scarcity response, always responding out of a place of lack. But yet we serve such an abundant God. And so if we serve an abundant God, how can his children be children of lack? And it doesn't make sense. But because of the world that we're living in, it's slowly conditioning us to believe that if we give, there will never be enough. And that is the biggest lie the devil wants us to believe. He wants us to believe that if we keep giving to other people, we will never have enough for ourselves. When the truth is, we see that story in the Bible of that I think it was this rich young man, and he said, teacher, what do I have to do to follow you? I've done everything. I've kept all the commands. What do I have to do to follow you? And Jesus says, sell all your possessions, not sell all your possessions, but give all of your possessions to the poor. drop all your stuff and walk with me. And the man walked away very grieved. And he walked away very grieved because possessions mean so much to us nowadays. We live in a very materialistic world that says the more you have, the better off you are, when that's not the truth, because we still have people who have more than other people committing suicide, people who have more than other people not having peace, not having joy, not having salvation. And so a lot of the times we think we need more things in order to gain happiness or to gain joy or to be better off. But the true joy and rewards comes out of giving the little that we do have, right? And we also hear the parable or the story of the woman who asked Jesus to heal her daughter, and Jesus said, I can't give the children's bread to the dogs. And she said, well, even the dogs eat the crumbs under the table. And basically she was saying, I know that I'm a Gentile and I'm not a Jew, but I know that you can still save me, and I know that you can still help my child despite my status, right? And so it's that type of faith that we need. It's that type of faith that we need to walk in. And when we know who we are, when we know whose we are, we're not stingy and we're not lacking to give to people, because we know that God provides our daily bread for us each and every day. And so a recommendation that I can give you is to say our Father every morning or every night. And that prayer is the perfect prayer because it covers a multitude of things, and it's Jesus' prayer to God. And one of the lines is, give us today our daily bread, which means whatever provision you have for us today, whatever can sustain us today, God, we trust you to give it to us. And when we can say that prayer and not just be hearers of the word, but doers of the word, and walk faithfully in that prayer, we can give out things, of course, with wisdom and understanding and direction, but we can give out things not wondering if we will get it back, not wondering if God will supply our needs, because we know that he will give us our daily bread each and every day.